While science offers one explanation for Tutankhamun's death, history holds another, a darker theory involving power, betrayal, and those who stood to gain everything from the young king's disappearance. Because behind the golden mask of Tutankhamun, there were enemies, rivals, and powerful figures waiting in the shadows. To understand the danger around him, we must step inside the royal court of ancient Egypt, a world filled with ambition, secrets, and silent battles for the throne. This chapter explores the human side of the mystery. Who controlled Egypt during Tutankhamun's rule? Who benefited from his death? And was the boy king a victim of a political plot? When Tutankhamun became pharaoh at around 9 years old, he did not rule Egypt alone. A child could not control armies, religion, law, and the economy of a vast empire. The true power rested in the hands of a few powerful adults near the throne. 3 names stand out. Ay, the Grand Vizier, a high-ranking advisor with great influence. Horemheb, the military general and commander of Egypt's army. Ankhesenamun, Tutankhamun's wife, queen, and half-sister. These 3 shaped the boy king's life, and possibly his fate. Let's begin with Ay. Ay was an elderly and experienced man, a master of politics who served under several pharaohs. When Tutankhamun took the throne, Ay became his closest advisor. Many believed Ay was the one truly controlling Egypt, using the boy king as a symbol while he made the real decisions from behind the scenes. Ay guided Tutankhamun through one of the most important changes in Egyptian history, the return to the old religion after the rule of Akhenaten. This gave Ay enormous political and religious power. Now imagine this. A weak young king, often sick. An aging vizier who ruled in his place. And a throne that would one day need a new and strong ruler. If Tutankhamun died without a son, who would become king? Ay was first in line. A sudden death of the boy king would. Did someone close to Tutankhamun help speed up his death? If the king was already weak and sick, it would not take much to push him closer to death. A delayed doctor's treatment. A decision to hide a fever. A medicine that was not given. Or something far worse. We are not saying the king was murdered. But we cannot ignore that his death opened the door to power for those around him. And history shows what happened next was no accident. Because just days after Tutankhamun died, the throne of Egypt changed hands in a shocking way. Tutankhamun's death should have been a moment of national mourning, a time for rituals, respect, and royal ceremony. But instead, something unusual happened. Within a very short time after the young king died, Ay stepped forward and declared himself the next pharaoh of Egypt. Not Horemheb, the military commander. Not a prince of the royal family. Not anyone chosen by the people. Ay, the old advisor, took the throne. How did he move so quickly? And why was the queen so desperate to avoid marrying him? Let's follow the events step by step, as they unfolded more than 3,300 years ago. First, historians believe that Tutankhamun died unexpectedly. There is no record of a long public illness. The suddenness of his death created a vacuum of power, and in ancient Egypt, a throne could not stay empty. Ay, as Grand Vizier, likely took control of the government immediately. Then came the most disturbing piece of evidence, the Hittite letter, written by Queen Ankhesenamun. She wrote, "My husband has died. I have no son. I will not marry a servant." She begged the Hittite king to send one of his princes to Egypt, so she could marry him and make him pharaoh. No Egyptian queen had ever dared to ask a foreign enemy for a husband before. This tells us 3 things with chilling clarity. Ankhesenamun feared she would be forced to marry Ay. She did not trust anyone in the Egyptian royal court to protect her. She believed Ay's claim to the throne was illegitimate and dangerous. For a queen to reach out to a foreign enemy for help, she must have felt trapped. Afraid. In danger. Why? What did she know? The Hittite king agreed to send one of his sons to Egypt, a young prince who would marry her and become pharaoh. If this marriage happened, I would lose everything. But the prince never reached the royal palace of Egypt. He was murdered at the border. Historical records from the Hittites are clear: the young prince was killed on his journey, and the Hittite king accused Egypt of deception and treachery. Who ordered the killing? We cannot say with certainty, but there was only one man who would benefit. I. With the Hittite prince dead, Ankhesenamun had no escape. Shortly after, I married her, the marriage he needed to legally become king. Then, she disappeared from history. No records of her life after the forced marriage. No tomb. No trace. It is as if someone erased her. Narrator, somber. Now consider this timeline carefully. Tutankhamun dies suddenly. Ankhesenamun tries to escape by marrying a foreign prince. The foreign prince is murdered. I forces the queen to marry him. I takes the throne. The queen vanishes from history. Coincidence? Or a silent royal coup? This does not prove murder, but it strongly suggests that Tutankhamun's death created an opportunity, and powerful people acted quickly to control the throne. Whether they helped cause his death, or simply took advantage of it, remains a mystery. But there is one more twist. I became pharaoh, but his rule did not last long. After a short reign, he died. Then Horemheb, the military general, finally took the throne. Once he had power, he did something unexpected. He erased the names of Tutankhamun, Ay, and Akhenaten from history. Destroyed records. Removed carvings. Rewrote history. Horemheb acted as if they never existed. Why? Was it to punish them? Or to hide what happened? Narrator, slow, dramatic close. So now, we have two versions of Tutankhamun's death. The scientific version. A sick young king, weakened by genetic illness and malaria, dying after a serious leg injury. The political version. A weak king surrounded by ambitious men, who gained power from his death, silenced the queen, and erased the truth. Between science and suspicion lies the mystery. Was Tutankhamun's death a tragic accident of nature? Or a silent crime of the palace?